Okay, namaste, welcome everyone. So this is our second last session in Calgary, and but we'll still be doing Facebook Live, but it'll be from elsewhere, Dubai and then India. Yeah. So we have today 3 questions, or maybe 4 questions that we'll start with, because last week there were a lot of questions coming in, and were really relevant questions. And I thought that it would be insightful for us to talk about them, because it just gives us wisdom and more knowing and more tools to manage our lives in these fast changing times. Yeah. So the first question, we'll just take them, they're not in sequence, but the first one was that a lot of people haven't been taught this knowledge or wisdom, and they spend almost half their lives not knowing this knowledge, not having any wisdom. So it's like just living in the dark, just trying or whatever, and trying to manage. And then the second half is trying to learn the new wisdom. So it's like they get into their 40s or 50s and then realize that, oh my God, something's not working, and how can I fix that? And then you look for tools, and you look for teachers, and you look for, of course, the teachers come before, but if you're looking for spiritual wisdom, then it would be a guru, possibly, and then that probably is your last option, because people, if you're not aware of what spiritual wisdom can do, then you will actually just hunt for psychological remedies or other managing tools just to manage life, not to actually change inside, not to change the world, but just to manage it. So the question was, I thought, really relevant. Is it relevant to you, people too? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So why is it that we don't come into this knowing, or we don't seek it earlier, and we lose almost all our lives, where we could be living fully, but we are living fractionally almost, but a lot of stress and maybe pain and suffering. So the answer would probably rest in just our society and culture. We just haven't been trained, neither were our parents, So we were not really made to study spirituality or to connect with a deeper sense of knowing. So we were taught it was more so religion, right? Or absence of religion. Majority of the time it was religion. So our moral code, our living code, our ethics, our behavior patterns were almost based on needs of society, wants of society, and then what was allowed or not according to the society trends. But it came from some religious teachings. So this is fine, religion is okay, but when you're told very early that the power is in the temple or an idol or that photograph or that prophet, and not you, what does that do to you? You stop seeking inside. Well, you don't stop, you don't start seeking inside, right? Yeah. You never go within. So we are taught prayers very, very early. And in schools in India, they're chanting prayers, but now they're starting meditation, which is actually way better, because when we pray, it's not just to connect. It's always to look at, there's a hierarchy, there's a whole gap between you and God. So it's like you're aware of the distance when you're praying. You know that something is outside, you must have it, you must behave accordingly, you must follow, otherwise you could be punished. So in order to get rewarded, the behavior pattern, the conduct, so you pray out of fear also, because you've no idea what this God thing is. But you want to please this God, whatever that thing is out there, right? Because if you don't please, if it's not pleased with you, it may stop delivering to you nice stuff, maybe toys, maybe whatever, right? So it's almost like a Santa Claus phenomenon, that if you don't do this, Santa Claus is not coming down the chimney. If you look at it, it's kind of similar, but except this 24/7 fear, right? So luckily Santa only comes on one night, So it's not a large fear. If you lose out, it's still okay. Now, what happens when you actually are pursuing the power outside of you? So your senses, how are you going to perceive anything? It's all through the sense world, just sense. And they perceive and they create patterns and then beliefs. We adapt to different beliefs. So what happens is when our senses are projecting out, so when, I'm going to explain it in a simple way, when you're looking out into the world, eyes open, there you may be seeing a lot of things. There may be a lot of things there, right? But your eyes go on that one thing. You're looking at one thing while there's everything else. So what is that one thing? How are you choosing what you're focusing on? How did you select that one thing there, right? Now what happens is when you look at one thing at an inner level, inner systems, you perceive it, you take it in, you match it quickly with the memory of what it means to you. So right away within split seconds, because you open up the files, this is done automatically, you've got a meaning to it. Now you start to apply that into action, right? Or a thought process of what you saw, what it meant to you. That becomes part of your thinking and then acting, right? So it's all taking from there, and then the process starts. So what does spirituality do? It actually takes you without that target, without the focus outside. You're not coming in because you saw something out there. It takes you directly into the inner system. So the inner mechanics, the inner workings of how the mind will work, how things, so the brain, for instance. So when you meditate very early, when you start meditation, it just doesn't lower your blood pressure or you get a nice rhythmic breathing. It does a lot more. You start to develop, there's an integration, alignment, so you can comprehend better. You can absorb things at a whole different level. So it makes us conscious very early in life. Conscious meaning now you look at the whole world all the time, but you're conscious of why you're looking at it, what do you want to do with it. So it's bang, 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 because your inner knowing of who you are, what you want, how it should be there, what you will do with that, that's or developed automatically. The inner system has developed. So the process system and just a deeper alignment, the flow, the brain flow, the fluid flow, everything, the heart, the brain, everything is in sync. So the inner system doesn't have anything to do with objects outside. It goes to the bare mechanics where the functioning is happening, the operative system. So without an object, without any trigger or stimulation from outside, you start with your breathing, and then you start to go into the deeper levels of knowing which come from within. Now, luckily, if you've got a great guru or a great master, they may show you not just the art of breathing, pranayama, like inhaling, exhaling. We've learned that in yoga, right? But what happens when you inhale? When you inhale, all your senses are awake. You take all the feelings, what you're seeing, everything you absorb. You're fully awake to the world. Everything you're absorbing, right? But when you exhale, in that split second, you are in a resting state of consciousness. There's just a split, a gap, and then a break where all of a sudden you're resting. So your inner faculties, inner system has the ability to absorb the information you took from outside and put it together properly, not just aggressively and intuitively, but in a whole organized manner. Exhale does that for you. But how many times were we told that you must focus on the exhale because this is where your inner system is getting better. Your ability to absorb and apply that information is a lot better. It's because of the exhale. Because when we take in all this information, it's almost impossible to assimilate it, to manage it, if our exhale, if we don't have that resting period, split second resting period. So what I'm saying is all these things, what is happening to the inner system, what is happening to you, and how do the vibrations work, how do frequencies, this automatically becomes a knowing. We don't even have to be taught this. This information is stored within us, and it starts to surface when we start to focus on the inner system. So spirituality was never the focus for many, the masses. It was just religion. So you can see the results. You can see how brilliant people, educated people, it doesn't matter which gender, they can create a lot of success, but they can, when it comes to the inner, the behavior patterns, some of them, it's so childlike, it's destructive, it could create victims. It's just information because they've educated themselves, they've learned skills, they've learned. But the inner system or the inner development didn't happen. So we can't maybe blame our parents, we can't blame our society because this is how it was. But the times have changed now. So what took us so long to absorb, because of the shift, the time shift, there's a whole fast speed, everything is quicker and faster. With very little, like just exhale, inhale, we can start to absorb and apply the information in a very developed manner. It'll start to develop. So what took maybe 12 years of practice now may actually take maybe 12 weeks or even less. It's like in no time. It's at fast speed because we can comprehend better. It's just a shift in space and time and speed. So that has allowed us in this new world to be able to take this information without too many practices, just small techniques, simple techniques, and really come to par with the world today. So our inside inner systems develop. When inner systems develop in a healthy way, we are not then so needy because it's almost like in Hindi we call it sthir. In English it's stillness. There's a resting stillness in you at all times. You still pursue your goals, you still create those, you still maybe do whatever you need to do in the outside world, but the inside world is never disturbed just because of all the practices you've done. It's a very steady world, steadfast. And also the thought patterns, they come in a very beautiful flow. They don't come bombarding that they take away your sleep and your rest, and you don't know which thought to choose or what to do. You're not also awake at night, You're actually resting in the body very beautifully because the body has this organized energy and it can absorb you. It can absorb your consciousness and you can rest. So when you wake up again, open your eyes, boom, brand new world, you start again. You're not tired. You can be physically tired, but it's very easily fixed. So there's a whole difference. So people, because we were not taught this, and maybe we didn't get those gurus, and if you look at it, the type of gurus, we've had some great gurus, but wise who were sharing this wisdom, and actually they would just tell you to meditate. If you ever had a question, they would just say meditate for 2 months, 3 months, you'll get the answer. Well, how will I get the answer? You will get the answer from where the question came, the answer will come. And sometimes they said that, follow the question, examine the question. And by the time you examined the question, you got to another question, then another question, then another question. And then all questions disappeared and we came into silence. And then we said, Guruji, we really don't have anything to ask because we're just okay. Because there was nothing to ask. Because each situation you had the silent, you had the build-up system. So you could actually, with very little stimulation and question answers, you can actually come to a peaceful solution. You may get your answers. So this is the answer to the first question. There was also a question that just came up, and which was that it doesn't matter how much we've learned, why can't we break patterns? Why can't we apply that wisdom that we learned in lesson number 1? Because what happens is lesson number 1, you can actually, the situation changes, the principle is still the same, but people don't know how to apply the wisdom to that. So they applied it maybe to health, but now if it's relationship question, stress, they don't know, they can't get there that, oh, it's the same principle. You will be amazed, there's only one principle that works. There's one principle in everything that works. You don't have to study books to read this principle. It's really simple. But everything that applied to health at an inner level will apply to your relationship, will apply to your wealth collection. Now, how to do it are techniques. Those could be different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your inside mechanics, right? So often you will, very often these days, and this is the question, despite of all the education and all the workshops and all of that, again, I come to the same thing, because they took workshops, but they never did the practice of meditation. They just collected more information. So we got smarter. We have a great language now, so we can communicate. I can understand the word now, because we all have studied that, or we know it. But I'm not sure how many people absorb the meaning of the experience of now. We just basically are using the language because we took in information, but we lack the experience. So we lack the foundation. The foundation was never built, right? So so this third, again, and they're all questions and answers are intertwined. Does that somewhat answer the second question? Yeah. Because I see that all the time. You'll tell somebody this, that then all of a sudden they'll say, but I'm not feeling good because of this. Well, what about this? I'll bring them to the same point, but they can't relate it's the same point they were 2 weeks ago. They can't see it, even though I can. They'll say, oh, yeah, I never thought of that. I didn't actually. You couldn't think of that because the inner system's not developed. It's not your fault. So there's still walls there's, imagine, like house full of walls. So it's like you need keys to get in, you need doors to open, but there's all these walls, if there was something there, can become a beautiful flow, open space, if we start to meditate. See, we each need a very quiet, sacred space, a God space within our own body that is totally undisturbed, that is never irritated, never disturbed. There's that space. So how do you build that space? That's with meditation. Because that is where your home is. That is where you go to sleep. That is where you go to rest. That is where you go for answers. That is where you go for everything, right? That's your source. But we never built that space, that quiet space, that room in our body where we could go. So that's why we have this problem. So when it comes to, again, teachers, yes, you're going to learn lots of things. There's great information. The world is changing. I say go learn that. Go learn new, technology. Learn how to do this, what to do, how to do. But how are you going to assimilate it? How are you going to absorb it? How are you going to apply it? Because it's a fast-changing, moving world. Before you know, people are in and out of relationships, in and out of jobs, in and out of wealth situations. So much is happening. You need to be really on your toes all the time now to be alert. How will you create that insight system? There's only one way, practices of deep meditation. Not just breathing, but deeper level that we do every Thursday. And all our meditations come from that space.
So, yeah, my question is but if you meditate a lot, it feels great and you feel you're there, but that missing link for the outside, like you go out in your family and a child of yours is bathing, whatever, and you wait, it's all lost. I still have trouble I do feel it when I meditate, It feels great, I do it a lot, but I just somehow out in the world, not even that, but I seem to be less functioning in the real world because I don't really want to deal with it.
Yeah, so the question is that I meditate, but when I go out in the outer world, then I'm still be agitated or react to situations. But the more you build the inside world, the easier the outside world becomes. It's just mechanics. It's just practice. That's all it is.
So it's still not enough practice then.
It's just, and what I've always suggested, don't build long practices. You won't be able to do it. We don't have that kind of mind or focus to be able to hold that space. So go in, do short practices, but do them very often in a day. not just nighttime. Maybe take 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there, 1 minute there. 1 minute focusing on exhale could actually center you very quickly. So do many times a day, but do it. And then it's just basically that number. You come to a tipping point where all of a sudden you are aware that your tantrum outside is not too long. The reaction is not too loud. Slowly, slowly, the time of reaction will shift. Slowly, slowly, the intensity will shift. You will be quieter very quickly. But it's just practice. It's really just practice. Yeah.
Or two, if you know you're going into a situation and say it's a tense situation for you and you're carrying a lot of anxiety, take 2 minutes before you go through that door.
Yeah.
And just center yourself and be quiet so that you're entering in that state.
It's great for meetings, great for conversations, great for anything that's going to really impact your world.
Yeah.
But like you said, we are trapped in situations, momentary situations, right? In a restaurant, in a lineup. But all of that slowly shifts. It just automatically shifts. It's just the level of practice and the hours of practice you're putting in. But you will do the time for practice if you feel that something good is going to happen. That if somebody said it is very important, otherwise pain and suffering will grip you. It has already gripped us all, and it will keep gripping us more now because it's a big challenge, because it seems like a chaos, because we're not just fast enough anymore. We can't respond that fast, right? We are tired, we're stressed, we've got years of stress, so our responses are low. So this is, does that answer those set of questions there? And then we had, there were just some questions, so we are just taking.
Why the gurus and the teachers if we have to go?
Yes, teachers.
Yeah.
So we can now see the role of teachers. Teachers are giving you information. They're giving you techniques, they're giving you information. And but that doesn't mean that inside you'll be able to assimilate. That is just the hardcore guru region. That is the spiritual master, or somebody who is living that. It's not transferred out of information. It's not somebody who did a workshop and can now teach you. It's somebody who's crossed over, who lives, is established, but they also know here where you are, and they can hold your hand and say yes. Because sometimes when you can do the practices, but the practices also can change according to person, and not everybody can do the same practice. So your guru should be able to say, that's not going to work, do it this way. Yeah. So that is where you are seen, and that's why we search for gurus who can see us. We go all over the world in search for, because if somebody can see us, they will know what will work for us, and they can help us build that inner system very quickly so we can start to live now. It's a very selfish thing to actually find somebody who will enlighten you and help you.
I think it's really important to recognize that in ourselves, because going back to the guru and the teacher's Facebook post, right? There was people posting on there going, well, I go within and I don't need anybody. And I'm like, well, I think that's almost impossible, because there's a place for teachers and gurus, because even in myself, I've been practicing a long time, but there's times in my life where I'm very misdirected by my own self, because I can't see the difference between higher self or ego or what I so desperately desire, right? And so then I'm making decisions based on going within, and then it doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and two, it's ironic because it's not that there's nothing right or wrong, but it just leads you down a path that's perhaps not for your highest good.
We are quite curious. So a lot of people get on that platform just to check out what the person is saying sometimes, out of curiosity, but that doesn't help, because I think everybody who gets on such a platform is seeking something. And then to be open to that and that information and that wisdom, because you can receive a lot more if you're open to it. So if you're just doing it for the sake of curiosity, then you know that it's just a cat and mouse or whatever that play for you, and you're not serious about yourself. I have, unless you've really reached that peaceful state where your systems are strong, there's never a time in our life when there's somebody not higher than you. There's just never a time. I feel really good that in my system, I have something to go to. It doesn't matter what level you're at. Yeah. So that is so important. There's no ego in this. Yeah. So if there's people below, behind, then there's got to be people ahead. And to honor that place is very important, because we're all ourselves looking for acknowledgement. But yet sometimes we wouldn't give it outside. So when it comes to the inner guru, yes, of course, you have a source of information. Unless you've built up strong systems in that, you may not always have correct answers, but still you have to go to yourself to look, to search. But also this is a lifelong thing, to keep developing yourself on the inside more and more. So the last one I'll take, because it'll otherwise take longer. If there's more questions, you can send them, because we still have one more week. We can go through them. Last time was another question about women. And we could do 10 sessions on this, but we'll try and keep it short, because we have a very nice meditation that we also want to do. And the question was, why are women so dependent on men that they will compromise a lot of their wealth, their self? So I don't know if the people here relate to that or not. Is anybody here relates to it? Not quite, yeah. Yeah.
But I see it lots.
You see a lot of
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. So, again, it's quite, there's no small answer for this. We would have to explore our history, our culture, our habits right from the beginning. But if we just go back very quickly and examine the role of women, our roles were divided. Men did the work outside, I'm talking about long times back, and the women basically did the work inside. So the work was divided. So the man is outside and maybe meeting others, whereas the woman, even though she may have something, is more so with herself than the childbearing and everything else. So somewhere along the line, and also it could be that male genetics and female could be different. We seem to be very emotional, the women, and it's not like men are not emotional, they express it differently. We seem to we want to be dependent on someone, maybe because of the beginning, the women didn't have that earning power or didn't make that much money, they were dependent on the men. Okay? So they have this great fear, and you can see this even in 2017. Even if the women are strong, working, they have fear of abandonment. Many women will tell you that they have fear of abandonment. So the abandonment phenomena has started there, so early, age-old, and is coming. And it's very interesting if you read on speed dating as to what men select and what women select. It's very interesting. Women will go for a woman who's youthful. So it's youthful, healthy body, so she can bear children or she can be that partner wherever they want to go. So it's youth that attracts them. Whereas women will go for status and wealth. So it's really amazing, the stats on that. I didn't make this up, it's there. Now, because women are looking for that, they will marry an ugly, corrupt politician because they've got the status, and they would ignore everything else. So first thing women will say, what does he do? There's instant status. And how much does he make? It's really simple. And then they get blinded to the face, blinded to the habits, blinded to arrogance, everything, if this status will be maintained. Now when they get into that, they're always still fearful, what if they're abandoned, even by this corrupt guy. So they'll compromise, play it, to... But I'm not saying it's all women, because we are evolving, we are changing. But the fear of abandonment, I have seen in my work, like it doesn't matter from year to year, doesn't matter what position the woman is, she's still feeling that she can be secure with a partner. And she's looking for that ideal partner. And when you actually go down the list, it's not as much as they will say, I want somebody to read with me, I'll somebody to do yoga with me, all of that. In the end, a lot of that is status. And very few women want to support men. It doesn't matter how much money they make. Now, men don't have that at all. I've not seen it in men so much. Whereas women, it doesn't matter. So it's really different dynamics. They will not want to support a man because somehow the respect is compromised if the man is not making that much money. So it's status, it's wealth, so the conditioning is just very strong. Probably take us more 10,000 years to come out of it. But but again, the only way is that you go deeper into your world, the world is changing, you locate yourself in your secure place, in your body, where you're not insecure. Then we won't have abandonment issues, right? We won't have, we'll be secure. And when we are secure, we will choose differently. We can now partner life, partner people. Yeah, I'm not saying it's all women, but a lot, because just of that history. So I'll just close that there because it's, like I said, it's a long one and we don't want to go into too much detail. But I think this kind of explains why, at the root cause, why do we behave in this manner? Okay. So, are you ready for meditation? Okay, great. So the back straight. Our shoulders will be back. Nice smile on the face. So as you start this practice today, you say to yourself, I am fully alert, fully present, fully focused. I am here to meditate. This time is for me and me alone. The people in this group will support you as they too have come with the same purpose. I want you to start first by listening to the sounds outside. So it could be outside in the room, coming from the room, outside in the house somewhere, or outside the house. So simply focus on the sounds outside. And as you hear the sounds, move from sound to sound without trying to understand what the sound is. So just move. When you hear the second sound, just listen to that. When you hear the third sound, just listen to that. Now, listen to the sounds from inside the body. So this could be the pulse, the heartbeat, or any other sound from within the body. Again, move from sound to sound. All focus is now inside the body, just listening to the sounds. Come back to the heart this time. Focus on the heart. Rhythmic breathing, equal breath, gentle breathing. Mouth is closed. Experience the cool air as you breathe in. Soon the breath will get soft, smooth, buttery, rhythmic in the flow. But just hold the focus on the heart. If you want, you can touch the heart with the right hand. You can keep it there for a few seconds or whatever, just so you know where you want to hold your focus. The more you hold your focus on the heart, the more time you spend here, the more coherent the signals will become to the brain and to the entire body. All of you will be in the flow, inner body, outside. If you start to think of something and get removed from the heart, then gently come back to the heart. Imagine the top of your head to be like a mountain peak. Your entire body is the mountain. Snow-peaked, eyes cold. But the sun is shining today, warm sun. The rays of the sun, the light of the sun, the warmth falls upon the mountain, which is the top of your head, and these ice and snow start to melt. You can feel soon the flow almost of this inner fluid, or like rivers flowing inside you. Warm sun will keep shining. The snow will melt, the ice will melt, the water will flow down, but it's all happening in you. Feel this melting with the warmth, light right above you. Body, inner body, physical body will start to relax as the flow increases. Now place your focus on the tip of the tongue. All focus on the tip of the tongue. Smoothly swallowing the saliva. Now the entire tongue focus, hold your focus on the entire tongue. Rest the tongue in the mouth nicely, totally rested. as you hold your focus there, I'm going to chant a few times as you remain in silence. My chant will still you more, take you into deeper peace, that sacred place in you. Om Namo Shiva. Om Namo Shiva. Om Namo Shiva. Let there be peace, let there be stillness. Let each person find their sacred place. Om Namo Shiva. Om Namo Shiva. Om Namo Shiva. Move the focus to exhale. Hold the focus on the gentle exhale alone. come back to the heart. You can touch it if you want to. All systems, inner systems to be restored. The flow to be restored. Allowing the body to heal itself. Notice how light the body is, the body space is. Find a space in your body where you will rest your consciousness. You'll feel full, rested, comfortable. It doesn't matter where that space is. Just go to wherever you feel that you could rest. You will be undisturbed. You will not allow anything to enter that space. It's just yours. So find that space, focus on it, and breathe from there, wherever that is in you. Put your hand on that space so you can feel it. You can give it a color if that'll help you. let us repeat 3 sounds of Om together, making this place stronger, magnetically strong, charged. So nice deep breath each time, loud and clear. You have charged this space with your own sound. The more you build your space, the easier, smoother life becomes. Systems, inner systems start to heal. You can absorb information, assimilate it, put it into action, apply it in a very beautiful way. The way how you can create your best life possible from this. Take a nice deep breath. Fill your body with rainbow color, head to toe, rainbow light passing from head, down the shoulders, down the hips, through the legs, into the feet, into the earth. Pass this rainbow light to the children of the world. Let there be no child without a smile. Let the children be sheltered, loved, fed, protected. Let them be safe and guided. It is up to each adult to honor the children. In doing so, they open the doors to a beautiful future. Send this rainbow light to all humanity. Just your thought intention is enough. Entire field is connected. Your intention will deliver the rainbow light to each and every person on this planet. Send this light to sea life, plant life, animal life. Let the planet be in harmony. Let all things and beings be in harmony and balance. Take a nice deep breath, rub your hands, and then move your hands slowly, touching your head, blessing yourself down through the body to the toes, 3 times head to toe. Protecting yourself, preserving yourself. You can open your eyes as and when. So the good news is that since the times have changed, we are in a different time. Very little practice is needed to be in this still state. And very practice is needed to heal the inner systems. That is the good news. So we've shared a lot of very simple practices that radically align you and almost recalibrate the entire system to where you want to be in 2017 without having to learn more. So as spiritualists, my goal is, my intention is to help you develop your inner system, your steadfastness, sharpen your powers, all the senses, so you can see differently. You can experience the world in a very beautiful way with sharpened, bright, vibrant senses. And then you can create your world inside out. So I'm sure you all have the same intention to do so. So we're fully aligned. And as we meditate, we don't just meditate for ourselves. The meditation is a joint experience. One person meditating in a community, in a neighborhood, quality, deep meditation can affect the community. So it's very few people are needed to change the world. Very few. And this can be you if you so choose. Yeah. So we will just do a little bit of sharing. What time is it, Christine? Okay, so we're almost done, but is there another 2 minutes if there's anything you would like to share or ask? How was the experience? We can simply talk about. You're all there?
It was really good, very deep.
Yeah.
But I never can get there on my own. I meditate a lot lately.
Yes.
I never get into that deepness as I do here.
Yes,
Amazing.
yes. It's the last 2 times you've had that, so it's an experience. That's great. So you follow it on the Facebook, with the Facebook, this part?
No.
Oh, you
I
don't?
just do the
Okay,
short ones that you were
okay,
saying.
okay. I think within few weeks we are going to have, we'll have to extract the meditation and we'll put it on a podcast also. So we'll have the insights, but we'll have the meditation also. So you can go to the website if you want, if you're not on Facebook, and it'll be available, the podcast also on the websites. So you can just do the meditation without the first part.
And the website is Enlightened, is it?
Yeah, it'll be on Enlighten Global, enlightenglobal.com. But if you go to rubybedi.co, it will take you to enlightenglobal.com. So in few weeks, we would have made the transition with nice meditations and so inside separate, so all of that, so you can meditate with me. Yeah.
The thing is also with the people in here.
Yes.
The energy is just
Energy is really, yeah.
I found it today for some reason just a little bit sort of a scattered meditation for some reason.
Was it for you because you were changing? We were changing or?
Just not as deep or intense for me.
Okay.
It's just more.
Okay. Did you check out for a while there? Because you were not, you were bending to one side. Are you aware? You were not here. So I don't know.
By the way.
You actually were going like that. So you were not here. Yeah.
Busted.
Yeah. So maybe when you came on, somehow. Yeah. So I would do it again. Yeah. It's also our journey. It's not the meditation. What has happened is if we have a lot of stimulation in the system, So we go there, here. It takes us a while to center. It's just our sense world. If it's really stimulated, it takes a bit more time. Yeah. How was it for you?
Good. I started off strong, and then I was working on something all day today, and I got the answer.
Oh,
wow.
And so then I couldn't let go.
yeah.
And so then I went away somewhere and fixed something.
Okay.
And then your Om Namah Shivaya, that actually helped bring me back.
Yes.
Because I was off solving problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I got the answer.
Yeah.
So I had to go finish
That's
that.
very exciting.
Well,
was,
this is
yeah.
what meditation does. That it'll, give you the answer,
Yeah.
and then you start to apply it already.
I know.
You work it. You
I have to
work
go
that
upstairs and
answer.
finish it now.
Yeah. And then and how was the chanting? Were you able to go deeper? Yeah.
I like that. I like the chanting.
Yeah, it takes you, and it's very intentional. Every time I do it with a certain intention to create a certain effect. So I wanted I wanted us to find that place, that center. So every one of you has that inner experience of a center. Were you able to, in the end, come to a place? Yeah? Okay. Yeah. So that's very important. Now go even to that center every time you meditate. You'll build that. It's like building a room in the house. But now you don't have to keep a mat. You don't have to keep incense. You don't have to keep, pictures of your gurus and guides. You can actually just go inside. And this place is nobody goes there. So no thought will go there. Don't take friends there. Don't take your wives. Don't take your exes. Don't take anybody there. That means no thought of another human in there. If you want to, you come out and then think. Okay?
So my thing is
Yeah.
still, though, sometimes I'm still thinking, because you always said like the soul is kind of
Yeah,
within
yeah.
your head. So I always feel I have to go up there, but my head is always so full.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I find it harder to easier to go to the heart. But
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
not the right place because my soul is up
Yeah,
here.
no.
So I'm starting to have a little bit of a conflict.
Yeah, so you do the heart. Do the heart. Do wherever it's easy. If you do with listening of the sounds, it tunes you very quickly. So you can do sounds. It's a very powerful meditation technique. You can listen to the sounds first outside the house because it's a whole different range. And you're listening. Then you come inside the house if you want. And then you come inside the body. By this time, you've already stilled the nervous system and the flow of energy. Then you can go on the tongue. It's very powerful. Yeah.
I go to the heart too.
Yeah, so go to the heart if you want. Or just go direct to the heart because that's where I meditate a lot too.
Yeah.
It's got the most magnetic field of energy. It's the highest field of energy. More than the brain, more than anywhere else. So that is where the supply is. That is what feeds. So just focus on that.
I just find, because last time you were talking about your soul guru, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're still asking for it,
Yes,
or whatever,
yes.
to connect, right? So
Yes.
you think you have to be in your soul area up here.
No, the entire body is the system that is operating this physical body, the power that is operating the physical body, okay, and the mind, and the consciousness and everything. Sometimes in spiritual terms, they'll just call that the soul. So it's not a personal soul that goes with you east, that goes with you west, that sleeps with you, that it's not that type of soul. It's not a personality, it's not a person, it's not a guide that way. It's that whole intelligence. That
The soul guru now is the whole.
yeah, it's the manifestation of the whole. Yeah.
Isn't that cool after all that?
Yeah.
I always thought it's your soul.
Yeah.
Which your soul connects with the whole
Yes.
thing, but it's still kind of.
But you're experiencing it through your limited perspective, your physical ability, but it's the whole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It's the same
It
thing.
just clicked now.
Same thing.
Yeah.
But it's just now, it's bigger. When you experience it in the body, it feels different. That's all. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah. So your soul guru, your soul keeper is established on every plane.
He doesn't want to show himself though.
You don't need to. It's okay. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Okay, we will close now. Yeah, thank you. Namaste. And thank you for joining us, all of you out there. Next week, we'll again do something very interesting. We've been talking about challenges women have in 2017, and we're also talking about challenges that men have. And I know on my Facebook platform, there's more men than women. So yeah, so it's very interesting. So please, guys, let us know what is challenging, what is happening in your world. We can cover some of those challenges. Maybe we can come up with some delightful, insightful answers, and the women too. And we'll have a nice session again till Thursday again. And if you feel compassionate, do share this video, do share this meditation, because meditation will change our world. Insights change our world. And we really, when we share them, we grow into them that much more. Okay? Namaste. God bless. You're most welcome.